The winter is a time of solstice, of looking forward. We hopefully had some time over break to relax, rejuvency, and for seeds or fields, this is a time of dormancy. But this readies us for what is to come. And you might not be there yet, right? We've only had a week of classes. You might be brand new employees settling back in. But to feel the seasons of the academic year like we feel the seasons of the year, that's really how we wanted to come into the conference today. The spring brings newness, it brings growth and a season of possibility. And we are so glad to be in person with you after the few years of virtual conferences. So hopefully we also are reemerging in a season, hopefully even better than before. We often see education as seeds. If you are a student, the investment that you are making now, how much time and water you choose to potentially care for your time here, we hope that will grow for whatever is next for you. If you are a career staff, we all have the potential of being lifelong learners, as a wonderful Slice staff reminded me recently. So I hope that we can take the opportunity to get the most from this conference, to dive into the material and to really take it beyond the conference that we have today. We have cultivated a solid lineup for you as far as workshops and speakers, and we know you will also learn from each other during this time. We seek to be in community together, honoring our principles of community, of inclusion, integrity, respect, service, and social justice. And with the honoring of our theme, we must also honor the land. And now we will watch our land acknowledgement that was wonderfully and honorably put together by so many folks in our community.
Colorado State University acknowledges with respect that the land we are on today is the traditional and ancestral homelands of the Arapaho, Cheyenne, and Ute nations and peoples.
This was also a site of trade, gathering, and healing for numerous other native nations.
We recognize the indigenous peoples as original stewards of this land and all the relatives within it.
As these words of acknowledgement are spoken and heard, the ties nations have to their traditional homelands are renewed and reaffirmed.
CSU is a land-grant institution, and we accept that our mission must encompass access to education and inclusion.
And significantly, that our founding came at a dire cost to Native nations and peoples whose land this university was built upon.
This acknowledgement is the education and inclusion we must practice in recognizing our institutional history, responsibility, and commitment.
We seek to bring that acknowledgement into the rest of our day and into the semester as we recognize the seasons we are a part of together. At this time, it is my honor to welcome up 3 members of your very own Lory Student Governing Board. May the 3 of you please come up. I'll have them introduce themselves. Let's give them a round of applause.
Thank you, Emily. Hello, everyone. My name is Janeth Gomez, and my pronouns are she, her, ella. I work with the Ellis Governing Board as the undergraduate marketing chair and with campus activities as an information specialist. For those new to the Lory Student Center, and just as a refresher for returning employees, the Governing Board is a team committed to better enhancing the educational environment on campus. As a student-centered organization located at the heart of campus, we want to make sure we provide programs and services that allow an inclusive community for all patrons that walk through the LSC. Thank you, and now I will pass it to my coworker, Jessica.
Hello everyone, my name is Granados. I am the Executive Director here within the LSC Governing Board, and I also work with the Campus Information Desk. We're so happy to be back after a long time of inactivity. I just wanted to share some reasons why I joined the Governing Board. So the reason why I joined the Governing Board was to grow as a person, as well as allow my community a place to volunteer and leave their mark here on campus, while making a diverse and inclusive environment within here on campus as well. So now we'll pass it on to my coworker, Keanu.
Hello, everybody. First, I would like to say thank you to SLICE, the LSE Governing Board, Dr. Ellis, Emily, Pamela Norris for making this happen. And thank you all for being here, for making it happen. My name is Keanu Kaibetoney. I'm a senior here at CSU, undergrad, studying landscape architecture. I work for the Native American Culture Center, and I also work for the LSE Governing Board, vice chair position. And I really like the work that the Governing Board is doing for our students, because they're guiding us all through 5 principles of community, as we know, which is inclusion, integrity, respect, service, and social justice. And so thank you, Dr. Ellis, thank you, Pamela, for providing us a place to learn and grow and thrive.
That's great. The governing board, we can't say enough about the governing board. It is an opportunity for our students' voices to be heard. They get to participate in really important things like enacting policy, but getting together and really elevating the voices. We are committed, as was mentioned, that the Student Center is student-centered. You will hear our leaders say it over and over again, but our student leaders and employees could take us over at any time, and that was intentionally in the design. You will go to many other student centers at universities across the country, and it will be primarily staffed by career or professional staffs. And so to know that we have over 650 student employees in the Lory Student Center is fantastic. So let's give a round of applause for that. So speaking of gratitude, Keanu kicked us off well. There are so many people that we need to thank and really uplift in this time. So hopefully whatever you needed to do to get here, thank you for being here, right? We know that it's an effort, and we know that you might have colleagues that made the choice not to. We commit that we are going to try to make this worth your while and be with you till 4 o'clock when we are committed to ending, right? The governing board, to Dr. Ellis, to Pamela Norris, to Vice President Hughes, who has joined us as well. We can't thank you enough for the leadership of this time. Next, and probably first and foremost, is our event staff, including catering, setup, AV, environmental services. We need a huge round of applause for them right now. Yes. Y'all, they were here with me up early. We were getting things figured out. And to make the implicit explicit, as my colleague Dr. Morera says, we really tried to commit to have as many of you participating in this day and not working it as possible. And we know that to be able to showcase our beautiful building, this space that we are in together, to enjoy that view, that a few people do need to work this. And so we are really, really grateful for our volunteers, for the folks on staff, and for everyone who is a Lory Student Center. This is paid training for you all, right? We commit and invest in you to be here. So talk to your supervisors if you need any clarification about that. But our investment in you is so that you will invest back and continue to ripple on and grow beyond CSU. Our speakers and presenters who are here with us, they give their time and talent to be here, and we have a fantastic, robust, diverse offering of workshops today for you. I'm thankful to the LSC SHAPE Advisory Committee for bringing the perspectives from a variety of different departments so that it's just not 1 or 2 people planning things. The volunteers who checked you in, who will help you find your rooms, who answered your questions today. Find the Ram head shirts or the yellow lanyards. They are your go-to people for anything today. And specifically, there are 6 fantastic humans on our conference actualization team who I cannot thank enough. So Cami, B, Georgia, Zaire, Abby, and especially Rachel, deep, deep gratitude. It's going to get a hand for everyone. All right, y'all. I told you there was a time I was going to ask you to bring out those phones. Bring out those phones. Get them out. We've done this before. We know that there is a menu in front of you. Pretend like their food is waiting to come. Grab that QR code. And then when you get in there, if you're having problems with your camera, zoom in. The angle might be a little funky. So zoom in, click that QR code, focus on it. If that is not working, that secondary option is there too. So I'm going to give you about 30 seconds because I want to see that heart lighting up. You see that heart? Yes, we have 445 people in there already. Let's get up to 200. Oh my gosh, we're close. 197, 8. So keep on getting in there. This is a fantastic engagement tool called Mentimeter, and it just allows us to kind of participate in a way that is anonymous, and we ask you to consider that when you're offering up your answers, right? You know. Oh, we are at 2:33. All right, we are going to go ahead and get started. There is a code that's above there too, so if there's still ones that you want. Oh man, we're still going. Let me wait till there's a pause. All right. Okay, we're going to go ahead and go. So let's see. I want a word or emoji that represents how you are today. Let's try this out. Let's kick it off. So get in there. You should have a yes. That is true. Yep. Oh, I'm seeing exasperated, tired, excited, haha. Lots of emojis of the faces. Love, hopeful, thinking, frustrated, proud, invested, wonderful, calling. Wow, look at all these. You know what's really coming up is yes, tired and excited are there, and happy and interested are popping up a little bit bigger, so there's a few there. But we have such a variety of entry points into this conference today. I wanted to bring this up because however you are entering in today is okay. We know this is a Sunday. We know that you have other things and places that you could be, and we are really appreciative that you are here. And we are even more hopeful for the folks who are excited, who might be a little bit tired, but we're going to energize you through the day. All right, next one. Nope, did I go backwards? Okay. All right, so you were asked about a little number on your name tag. How many SHAPE conferences have you attended? And both in person and virtual, okay? So we want to see. Ooh, we've got a ton of first-timers here. That is fantastic. We've got folks who have been here with us in the beginning, a ton of folks who have been here amidst, right? Maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 4. I've never seen the dots with this many people. I'm not going to lie. They're like all jumbled on. Oh, fantastic. Okay. So this is where we are. This means that for 161 of you, at least, right? That doesn't even account the folks who here are outside. We have the opportunity to have this be your first impression into the SHAPE conference. So hopefully you have been surprised by some things, you've been excited by some things, and you will join us for the rest of the day. We've got a couple more questions here. Next, are you a student employee, career employee, or volunteer community member or presenter who's here with us today in this ballroom? If the last one is looking a little sparse, it's because our presenters have to check in later after you. We were trying to, time all that. But look at all of those student employees who are here, right? Look at all the career staff who are also here supporting us. And these statistics mirror what I said before, that our commitment to our student staff is significant. And so we really want to enthusiastically be here for you. All right, last one. This is a type in, so you can type in a few words, a little sentence, something that you specifically appreciate about working in or for the Lory Student Center. Flexibility, community, fun, the energy, ram ride, the people. Hey, tech team, yes. I'm going to need you to scroll it for me because I don't have connection up here. Emily Ambrose. Friends, my coworkers. It's close. People, the paycheck, that's real, right? Pam and Mike, Fritz, the staff, work environment, Community, it reflects my goals, kind and helpful staff. Taco Bell drink, isn't that real? How many of you have gotten that? If you're an employee, you get a free Taco Bell drink. I know. But you have to be an employee. All right. So there are a ton of reasons, right? There are a ton of things that you appreciate about working in the Lory Student Center. One of the things that I appreciate specifically is the leadership here. So Dr. Mike Ellis is our fearless leader. Let's give it up. Yes, I already heard it. Yes. So we're going to bring him out in a second. Mike is our Associate Vice President for Student Affairs and Executive Director of the Lory Student Center. He has been here with us since my beginning, which was 15 years ago as a graduate student. And before that, it is my honor and privilege to bring him up now. Dr. Ellis, let's bring him to the stage. Mike? Oh my God! Whoa! Oh, he's like backing it up. If you can't see this in the back, we have a pickle coming on stage. This is not what I told him to wear. This guy. Oh my God. Oh, it'll all make sense, maybe? All right, we're going to see. Okay, give it up for Mike.
Poor Emily. Well, good pickling morning. How the pickle is, everyone? Good? As some of you have come to know and even expect, it's become tradition for me to dress contrary to what Emily might have had in mind. Yes, in previous shape conferences, I've come shaped as a square, worn my exercise tights to help us get in shape. I completely missed that one. And last year I used a shapely balloon. Well, this year Emily gave up on me. You heard her, right? She even directed that I should come out looking like a sunflower in a pot. Imagine how that might look. I was determined this year to come contrary to her expectations and get one over on her. So what do you all think? Let's do a quick poll. I'm going to give you a choice. If you think I look better as a sunflower, let's let Emily hear it. And if you think I make a better pickle, let me hear it. Woo! Sunflower. Pickle. All right. Well, it's clear I've got work to do with a few of you, just a few. So for you pickle disbelievers, let me try to convince you otherwise. Let's face it, there's so much good to be said about being a pickle over a sunflower. We can be sweet, sour, spicy, and even savory, something that appeals to all. There's very few of you that don't like pickles, right? I can be a noun, a verb, and an adjective. Sunflowers can't claim this, Emily. We can pickle on ideas and come up with better ideas. You can't sunflower ideas. I can play pickle ball, and even get myself in and out of a pickle. In sum, a pickle can pickle and be pickled. Try that with a sunflower. Now that I've convinced you all in the goodness of pickles, right, Emily? Some of you are still thinking about, what does this have to do with the theme, planting seeds to shape tomorrow? I think it's a good question, one I've pickled on for a few months now. It's true that pickles don't come from a seed, at least directly, right? We take a lot of work to get to be like me. Flavored in vinegar and a marinade, and then carefully preserved. And over time, with great care. I know you're still thinking about what this has to do with today's theme. You see, as employees, we plant many seeds in the LSC every day. Seeds which I hope will lead to a greater sense of belonging, learning and growing stronger together in community with one another. Seeds this past week alone included the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. March on Monday, with thousands of marchers descending upon the LSC to both commemorate and commit to a better future. A mostly open LSC on Tuesday, we'll explain that in a moment, to welcome the return of students and yourselves. A closed building on Wednesday, I know you all like that, due to the snowstorm. Though several staff were still here receiving books and food orders, so we could resume normal business on Thursday and Friday. And even with all of this, we had construction going on throughout the week, working on the north end renovations with milestone goals to open the newly expanded ALVS space in the CSU bookstore by May's graduation, with final project completion by the end of the summer. Talk about something that's been pickling for quite a while now, since 2018, when students first approved this project. My point is that everything in the LSC is intentionally planted as seeds. And yet, if we don't take the extra effort to nourish and care for these seeds, even after we think we've learned all that we can and reached full maturity as merely cucumbers, we haven't yet reached our full potential. In my case, ultimately becoming a pickle. Many of you have heard me quote from one of the LSC's building managers back in the 1960s. A building is as a building does. I've said this again and again. We all know that a building by itself doesn't do anything, and ultimately it takes all of us, each of you, from our career staff and supervisors, to our part-time staff, to our more than 650 student employees that make the LSC the special place that it is. To all of you, I'm incredibly grateful for what you do to help make our CSU community welcoming, engaging, and affirming for all. I'm also pickling grateful to Emily, Rachel, our catering, tech, event, and operations staffs, and the multitude of volunteers and presenters for making today happen, and also to all of you to committing to shape this weekend. Thank you, go Rams, and pickle onward!
Don't you go anywhere, Mike. All right, no. You can stand right here. You ready? Okay, here's what I think happened. I sent him an email with that picture. And he was like, I could do that. I think he was scrolling TikTok. I think he heard this song, and that's what he was doing. Can we hear the song? Oh, where's our sound? Oh, yes.
Get my booty in that brine. Lord, just let me with my whistle. In that vinegar and thyme.
You can go ahead and cut it. That's what I think happened. I think Mike was on the TikTok scrolling late too. Who's seen that? I'm told it's a big thing. No? Oh, look it up. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. You know, Mike can be a lot to deal with. Oh, but you know, at the end of the day, I do stand with the pickle. Give it up. Give it up for Mike Ellis. Thank you. Thanks, Mike. This is my favorite. This is good.
It is true that I don't know everything that goes on in this building, so I had no idea you were doing that. All right.
We do not support pulling one over on your leaders. All right. that brings us to something that I have been looking forward to for months. It is a true honor to be able to bring up our keynote speaker for today. Anupama Mehrotra, CSP, which she'll tell us all about what that means later, is a proud alumnus of Colorado State University with over 10 years of progressive experience in occupational safety. She started her career working for the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Can you advance the slide for me, please? It's not doing it because it's trying to make me play the thing. Thank you. She started her career working for the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, then spent almost half a decade working at a certified B Corp, and finally found a home as an executive safety leader at Amazon. She currently leads an organization of 150 safety professionals in 21 facilities across 11 states. Anupama's passion lies in mentoring and developing emerging professionals, and she currently serves as a member of CSU's EHRS Undergraduate Advisory Board. In her free time, Anupama loves to read, play tennis, spend time with her partner, and can always be found nuzzling someone from her fur baby army. Anupama, please join me up on stage. Let's give it up.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let me get myself set up here. All right. Hi. Does anyone need like a quick stretch? Like you just ate lunch and you just want to like stretch for a second. Would you stretch with me? Just, ooh, I need a stretch. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I see a couple yawns. Let it out. Let it out. I love it. All right. I'm going to spend some time with you today sharing some stories. Some of my own seeds that I've planted throughout the years and lessons I've finally been able to harvest from those seeds and the shape I found myself taking. Have you heard the idea that life gives you the gifts that you need at the time that you need them? My mom used to say this all the time, and I used to love the Paulo Coelho quote in The Alchemist that says, "When you want something, all of the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it." We're familiar? Well, in my lived experience, sometimes the best intended gifts can take the form of bombs. Tequila bombs, to be specific. On this day, I was a safety manager at a warehouse charged with delivering boxes to people during a global medical crisis in which people couldn't leave their houses and were in oppressive social isolation. You might be familiar. It was my job to protect the people who were getting you your toilet paper. And we were out of hand sanitizer. You know, I'd argue that humans' best innovations come in times of panic, like booze sanitizer. Do you remember this? It smelled like jungle juice and it made your eyes water. And my facility was sent an entire trailer load of it, the tequila variety, the most potent of the alcohol sanitizers. We got thousands of gallons. Just to visualize this for you, 50-gallon containers are about a trailer load would be from the end of the projector screen on either side all the way back to the wall on either side of this building. Okay? Imagine that. Thousands of gallons of this stuff. Let me tell you something a little nerdy about it. Our government says we cannot store more than 10 gallons of it in any one location because it's so flammable. In fact, we have to ground it when we transfer it from one container to another because static electricity could cause it to spontaneously combust. Its flash point, for those of you that are not chemistry majors, flash point means when it could ignite from the vapors on the surface, is 73 degrees. Does anyone know how hot it gets in summer in Denver? So, it was another cool, temperate July morning in Denver, Colorado. I dragged myself into month 5 of the exhausting COVID nightmare that wasn't ending, and upon my arrival at my building, my operations team excitedly informed me that a solution had finally been delivered to our sanitizer problem. Tired and bewildered, I looked at them in the face and delivered the news with my standard top-notch, well-placed tact. You mean there's a hot trailer full of tequila napalm sitting on our dock door. And I remember thinking that life, once again, on top of everything else, had gifted me a ticking time bomb. And we adapt. We problem solve. Here we go again, I thought. A short-sighted good intention strikes again. I found myself capitalizing on the teaching moment, instructing my team on the hazards of static electricity, reigniting our building on fire, running around in static electro-safety shoes, that's a fun one, placing no more than 10 gallons of tequila napalm in spots all throughout the building, waiting until we could procure a better long-term solution per government regulation. It's fine. It was literally fine. In college, it had been a dream of mine to one day join the Commission Corps of the United States Public Health Service. If you're not familiar, it's a sister branch to the US Navy. They are a highly prestigious group of civilian officers who are responsible for fighting on the front lines of public health. They fight disease, they conduct research, they care for patients in underserved communities, and that's what I wanted when I grew up. It's a rigorous experience to get one of those coveted roles. They only open application periods every so often, and I happened to work at the CDC when they opened up an application period. I will save you the stress of the journey and tell you that I met the qualifications, passed the multi-step interview panel, found an agency willing to hire me. It was a slam dunk. I could taste my dream coming true. All that was left was the medical and fitness panel. So I started running, I ate less, I lost weight. I got in the best shape since high school. I put on some weight in college. I don't know about the rest of you. This whole process took months. And in my head, I'd started writing the story of what my life would look like with this career, of what retirement would look like, of what travel would look like, of what my house would look like. But life gave me another gift. I failed my medical panel. And not because of fitness. I failed it because of my eyesight. My eyes are pretty bad. I'm -8 and -8.5. But I missed the requirement by 0.5 in my right eye. My mentors that were current public Corps officers said, just go get the test done again and have a doctor fudge your prescription. Yeah. But in my community, the feedback was, yeah, go do that. This is a lifetime dream of yours. Just go fudge it. If your glasses are a little less than perfect, just go to Mexico and get a new prescription. But it wasn't just one lie they were asking me to make. I would have to redo those medical tests every 2 years for the rest of my career. And I was faced with a question. I could literally have the dream career of a lifetime, all of the housing, all of the travel, the further education, the prestige, and the simple cost was my own moral compass. I'd have to lie every 2 years for the rest of my career. I was being advised to deny the reality of my own body and broken, and perhaps accepting my physicality for the first time in my life. My heart said, that isn't me. This isn't it. And I let that dream die. I was formally diagnosed with anxiety 3 years after I graduated college, but I've probably had it my whole life. Prior to my diagnosis, I controlled it with self-destructive habits, hormones, drugs and alcohol at different times in my life. And with the formal diagnosis, I finally accepted that maybe SSRIs are a solution for me. I was medicated for 7 years. I found it easier to cope with the realities of a workplace without the incessant and unrelenting voice in my head that's always telling me I'm not good enough. SSRIs for me quieted her, and they numbed me. They gave me a time and a space to start planting a new way of existing. A new dream was born, a new reality where I wasn't controlled by my anxiety and medication wasn't my only available coping strategy. So I began a long journey of finding my own strength. I tended seedlings in the form of 15 years of journaling, 7 years of a gratitude practice, 6 of therapy, 1.5 years of deep meditation practice, and it has been 2.5 since I came off medication. But that doesn't mean my anxiety is gone. Inspired by authors like Sarah Wilson and the Nagoski sisters, I find myself on a lifelong journey with her her being my anxiety, and the many strategies that I have to cope. I share this because just last week, I found out that my workplace considers anxiety a disability. I like to consider myself a fairly reflective human, pretty self-aware, but that made me stumble. I have what? I'm a person with a disability now. Wait, I'm a brown, queer, agnostic woman, and now I also have a disability. That identity doesn't feel mine. It feels very awkward and very furry on my tongue, like every new identity I've ever tasted. Like I don't have a right to it, like I don't deserve it, like I'm not enough for it. It's another seed, and perhaps I let that one lay dormant. One day, at one job, I came home and told my partner that I had been sexually harassed in an elevator. I'd spoken my truth to those with power, and they asked me if I was sure. They said, "I'll talk to him." My partner and I cried, and we talked, and we talked, and we talked. And what resiliency looked like for us in that moment was that I could not quit my job. My partner had quit his and moved across the country to support another seed, another dream of mine, another big step in a career. And if I quit my job too early, I would lose professional credibility, and we couldn't afford rent. So I stayed, and I carried a taser in my pocket. I snuck it in through security, my hand on it at all times in the plant, because I couldn't quit, and another seed was planted. One day, at another job, a lifetime later, I found myself in a completely different position, one of power this time. I was the voice who said, "It doesn't matter that he's a good guy. It doesn't matter that he meant well. Substantiated harassment is harassment." The tables had finally turned, and I was finally speaking truth with power. And the decision I wish someone had made for me, and I made the decision I wish someone had made for me so many years ago. I could tell you a story of when I sort of accidentally on purpose quit my job that I loved because I wasn't getting paid what I deserved. Another dream thinned, a seed planted, and a seed ended. I could tell you many stories of when I found myself the only woman on an all-male team, the only person of color on an all-white team, and most of the time it's both. How tiring it is to be talked over, ideas repeated by someone else, and how lonely that feels. How I keep fighting because I believe making changes to systems from within systems is one of my core purposes, and it can still be really lonely and defeating. I could tell you about all of the white men who've operated from their gut instead of listening to a young brown woman with data. I could tell you about how MLK Day is a corporate holiday, but my white teammates don't respect it like they do Christmas, even though it means everything to me. I could tell you that in my life, I've made friends with people that I've never expected, and I've lost friends that I never thought I would. I could tell you that I learned to love my family just in time to lose them. I could tell you about the time I was 3 hours late coming home, and I didn't have access to my phone. I couldn't tell my partner because a male colleague had intentionally closed me in a room and blocked the door, berating me and keeping me well past closing time. He threatened both me and my job, because in doing my job, I exposed that he was breaking both the law and putting our team's lives at risk with his frugality. I could tell you that my mom recently passed away, far too young. My understanding of life, of my life, was completely and absolutely desecrated. None of my seeds resonated anymore. None of my dreams. Nothing makes sense when a foundational piece of your structure is ripped from you. I don't think I will ever tell you that there is beauty in this loss, but I can tell you that I found a new dream. Seeds we unknowingly planted together, my mom and I, that have been hibernating, dormant beneath the surface, and have come to life in ways I never anticipated. Perhaps you're sitting there wondering why I'm telling you all of these stories. What does it matter? They're just stories. They're stories of dreams, both realized and broken. And here's the thing about dreams. They start somewhere. They start with a seed. Today, you have an opportunity to plant seeds that will shape, might shape, could shape your job, your someday family, your purpose, how you grieve, and you will grieve. The connections you build, the conversations you engage in, and the new ideas you percolate could all be dormant seeds for a future you. And the hardest part about growing seeds? It's thinning them. It's choosing to kill off something you started by nurturing. You may not know now, but you will thin seeds in your life. It may come from life's hardening winters and ferocious winds. It may be your own gentle hand or a sweet farewell. If you plan for it now, perhaps you can do it with intentionality, in alignment with your values, choosing dreams that are most important to you and your journey. I ask you, where is your moral compass? Would you break rules to guarantee your safety? What sacrifices would you make for an adventure? What weapons will you hold to defend yourself and others? And what requests will you have of the people who love you? What you water, tend to, harden off, and thin lay the foundation for a future you're just starting to imagine. You are growing a calm confidence that through whatever season, we'll still be there, and we will still be here. We will grow and find ourselves and our strengths and our purposes. And I am so very excited for all of the ebbs and flows, the planting, the watering, the thinning, root growing that you will each do today, that you each do every day, and that you are setting the stage. And know that you are setting the stage for what your garden looks like across your lifetime. You won't be disappointed.
Anupama, thank you so much. I think what's really striking about the words that you say is I graduated here 15 years ago. I'm 38, and the words that you say still ring true very much, as I'm sure they might ring true for if you're 50 in the audience or if you are 19 in the audience. So thank you for the words and for the experiences and sharing the hard and the possible and the grand.